Salisbury Center, we are ready for our next fight. Making his way to the cage and fighting out of the red corner, it's Buddha Hanchard.
Kyle Buddha Hanchard, 5'10", 164 pounds. This is a super lightweight bout. At 20 years old, he's fighting at a Beta Academy. Now, this is his MMA debut. However, he has competed in kickboxing before. He actually competed, I believe, at the last TCB here back in, I want to say, March. So this is obviously a big jump up. He's only been training in Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a year, and he's got his hands cut out for him and a very wrestling accomplished opponent in Patrick Budd.
Yeah, and I see here it says when he signed up for every single event in 2023. That's somebody that wants to get active.
Yeah, there's something about that, right? He wants to compete every single month and just get after it, which, you know, why not, right? Like, you're in it, like you were saying, let's get that experience.
Yeah, and at 20, you know, people are starting younger and younger these days, you know. Some of these 20-year-olds, if we could get them going even earlier, it'll help with the catch-up with these Dagestani people, you know, that people that are fighting overseas since they were kids.
Yeah, and you know, it is an interesting challenge, though. I think we were talking about this last time. More than ever, we have older champions at the highest levels of the sport. You know, guys who are 32 and 33 years old are basically in their primes, and there's a steep, quick drop-off at 36 years old.
Yes.
It's actually unbelievable, but it makes me wonder, you know, do you want to start super early, or do you want to just train for a long time and then compete, and when you compete,
later on,
you just get after it, right?
Yes.
We'll find out here in a minute when we throw it back down to Chris Fuller for the second call-out.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special moment for me. I have known this young man since he was 12 years old. I coached him, I've coached his brothers, and I've been waiting for this moment since I started this job. Making his way to the cage and fighting out of the blue corner, it's Patrick Budd.
Patrick Budd, 5'8", 163 pounds, 29 years old, fighting out of a Liston 9 fight company out of Stafford, Virginia. This is his debut, and as Chris would tell you, he's known him since he was a little kid. Unbelievable. Chris Fuller, I didn't know you were that old.
Yeah, and to be honest, man, there's a lot of accomplishment coming from this guy's side, man. This is a very, very high-level credential. Like, when I see these kind of credentials, these are the kind of people that I bring into camp to help me prepare for a fight. So it's one of those things where it sucks to be Kyle to be in the ring while the announcer is praising your opponent. But I think a lot of hype is coming on the side of Patrick. He has a couple of people in the arena that's also cheering for him. So I'd love to see how it looks like. I know his wrestling is great. On paper alone, reading these credentials is insane. But MMA is MMA. You never know how it goes.
Yeah, everything changes there when you start throwing in strikes. And, you know, I was talking to one coach, and he was telling me a lot of grapplers don't like getting hit in the face. And I'm like, yeah, actually, that's pretty much it, you know. So there's not always a one-for-one transition, but I'll tell you, man, those guys over at Liston 9, Colton Smith, fought in the UFC, won the Ultimate Fighter. This is a team that really knows how to get you prepared, and they wouldn't put Patrick in a situation they don't feel he's prepared for.
Exactly, and Patrick definitely passes the eye test, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I wish I looked like that. I looked like he was carved out of granite, you know? We'll throw it back down to Chris Fuller for the official call.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the CageZilla Super Lightweight Division. It is brought to you by our friend Mike Pignoni, the defense attorney of Northern Virginia, and Southland Insulators, insulation expertise you can count on. And now, starting out, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5'10" and weighing in at 164 pounds, fighting out of Beta Academy, making his CageZilla debut, it's Buddha, the Bounty Hunter Hanchard. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5'8" and weighing in at 163 pounds, fighting out of Enlisted 9 Fight Company, he is making his CageZilla debut, it's Patrick Budd. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout is scheduled for three-minute rounds in the CageZilla Super Lightweight Division. It is brought to you by our friend Mike Pignoni and Southland Insulators, and your referee is Michael Dolman.
All right, let's see what happens here, how quickly we end up wrestling. Yeah. I wonder if Kyle's going to try to keep it a little bit further at range here and avoid the clinch.
Yeah, Kyle is out of beta. I don't know if we mentioned that before, you know, so he does have a lot of good trainer partners to grapple with. I understand he's only competed in Muay Thai so far, but I don't expect him to be a slouch on the ground either.
No, I mean, Beta Academy does such a good job. And, you know, for a team that's not known for their wrestling, they do a very good job preparing for wrestlers. And I've seen it with a lot of their MMA fighters.
Now, what I'm seeing right now from Patrick is having a hard time closing the distance. And nice, that was all very powerful. And that's exactly what you expect from somebody with these credentials in Greco. And as soon as he got that takedown, the crowd exploded. So Patrick definitely has a lot of people on this side in the fans today.
You know, but I like what I was seeing. You were talking about Kyle having a hard time closing the distance, but I would also say it was more of like him having an issue finding his range, right? Because he's very good at range, but now, you know, you're dealing with a guy who's built like a fire hydrant, pressuring into you. Yep. You're probably getting out-muscled right now, so you want to try to maintain that balance.
Now, what I did like from Kyle was his transition back into his guard. You know,
yeah,
that was a very good guard retention. He wasn't flailing around. He knew exactly what he was doing. And now Patrick needs to be careful of getting triangle because Kyle does have a lot of long limbs, and he let him up. And what that means to me is he didn't like what he felt in that guard. He didn't like what he felt in that guard. There was a lot of arm control, and right now he's doing wrist control. I like the fact that Kyle's attacking off his back. You know, we might actually get surprised here with a submission because Kyle is not accepting this. He's not just laying down, and that's what I expected when I saw he's from Beta Academy. I was like, the wrestling credentials might not match up, but the jiu-jitsu is there, and now he found himself in the triangle, and this is tight. This is tight because Patrick's not addressing the triangle. He's just trying to punch his way out.
Now he's going to switch to an armbar. There's an armbar there as well.
This triangle is still tight. Patrick might try to slam him, but this triangle is getting tighter and tighter. He was able to pop his head out, but now he has to respect Kyle's ground game.
Exactly.
Because that was a good setup. You know, that wasn't an accident.
Yeah, Kyle just he was using his feet when he needed a little bit more shin, you know, and that was just a matter of, I think, Patrick just exploding out, and, you know, Kyle caught it when he did, but you're right. He's now showing that he can grapple off his back, and in his corner right now, you know, you can see Nakapan giving him tips.
Yeah.
If he can regain guard, he's cooking.
And to be honest, some of these positions, Patrick is doing a little too much holding. So the wrestling might be there, but I feel like Patrick might still need a little bit of help when it comes to the jiu-jitsu. And now I think the reality is starting to set in. Oh, that's a tight guillotine. He almost got caught in a guillotine, but that was a great slam. But this is a lot of energy that Patrick is using here. And although it's very fan-pleasing, it's not very effective for a three-round mixed martial arts fight.
Yeah, and you could tell right now he's tired.
Yeah, it's tired. It's definitely getting to him. It's definitely getting to him. So I think this is one of those things where I think Patrick might need to conserve his energy and start going for some more, not so crazy takedowns, you know, some more energy efficient takedowns, if that makes sense.
You know, one of the things I'll tell you, when you get lifted and returned, so often those are the fastest ways to get back up. The harder a dude tries to slam you, sometimes the faster it is for you to reverse or just pop right back up.
Yes.
You know, and I think right now, like you were saying, Patrick has to focus on control as opposed to, you know, really getting the slam for emphasis.
Yeah, you know, and a few of those big slams, his neck was in a very compromising position, you know, but on credit to him, he brought Kyle back down in a position where he was relatively safe. But a couple of these times, Kyle was around the neck. It's just he dumped him over his head. So, and if we're looking at both guys' body language right now, Kyle looks like he's ready to go, you know, and Patrick does too, but you can see a little bit more fatigue on his side.
Yeah, now Kyle, he looks pretty sharp right now. He's hungry.
Yeah, and man, for a 20-year-old, man, Kyle looks very calm out there. I don't like how high he has his chin, but he looks very calm, very composed, and he's blasting kicks, you know. And now Patrick got to figure something out because you don't want to be at range with somebody just throwing head kicks at you like this, especially when he knows that your path to victory is to get into his legs. I won't be surprised if I see Kyle start looking for some knees here.
Now, let me ask you a question. You know, oftentimes when I'm going with a guy I don't want to get taken down by, I will really rely on my jab and my punches. I won't throw kicks.
Yes.
Oh, good transition there.
Very great transition.
Is that something you would agree with, or do you kind of like when guys start throwing kicks and just keep people at the end?
So with me, it's all about clock management, you know. Early on in the fight, I'm definitely going to try to keep my feet on the ground as much as possible. Now, when I see that enough time has passed to where if I give up a takedown here, it's not going to affect the match as much, then I might start kicking your arms. But like you said, a much safer approach is to work my jab.
Some high-level analysis there, ladies and gentlemen, from Sadiq Yusuf.
Nice. And now I think Patrick looks a lot better now because he's actually posturing in the guard, you know. But, man, Kyle is relentless with attacking. You know, he's not relatively, like, he's not accepting any position. I think he's looking for another arm bar here. He's able to get his shin across the face, but he needs to cut the angle so he can turn for the arm bar. But he's not accepting just laying down there.
And I like how he's still trying to get up.
Still trying to get up,
you know, even though he just got, like, taken right back down, he did a combat get up, forced Patrick to force him back on the mat, and now he can kind of keep working from there and just keep on trying, keep on wearing Patrick down.
And now we see why Kyle's coach has also accepted this fight. You know, this is a great test for him. And win or lose, so far he's having a great display against somebody with such high-level credentials. And the same thing on Patrick's side. This is exactly what you need. So you test the waters. You have somebody very, very tough in your first ever fight. And then from the rest of there on, you're okay, this is what I'm actually getting into, you know. I've done great with wrestling so far. Now I'm transitioning to MMA. This is what these guys bring to the table.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I like how right now Kyle's just constantly riding the cage, although he just gave up his back.
He gave up his back, but Patrick doesn't have both hooks in, and he's just face cranking. But I don't know if he's going to be strong enough to just get a tap from a face crank. He needs to get that other hook, and otherwise Kyle's going to try to turn into him.
And that's what Nakapan is calling for right now. He's calling for him to turn into him.
And nice.
Patrick used it to get him out.
Top mount. Kyle's trying to push off against the case, and he got it. He got it. But Patrick was able to still maintain top position. Now he's maintaining side control. Now, the one thing I would try to say on Kyle's side is he needs to try to start getting his guard back. I think he did great in the first round with trying to get his guard back and shooting for submissions from his guard. Now it looks like he's just working to do damage from bad positions, which isn't good.
Yeah, that was a really good point. And that was a good adjustment there also out of Patrick Budd, right? We were talking about him being like, oh, man, you know, he's getting tired. He's throwing Kyle around, but he doesn't have any control. Yes. And then immediately he comes out in the second round. When he gets his takedown, all control.
All control. Much wiser, you know. I understand in MMA, sometimes you got to ignore the crowd. You know, the big slams are great for the crowd, but what's better for you towards winning the fight is controlling the small positions. You get one tiny takedown and control the position. And now Colton is trying to rile Patrick up because he sees Patrick as tired, but he's telling him to look at Kyle. He's just as tired as you are. You know, you got to show better composure. And Colton's fought at the highest levels, you know, so he knows how much the mental part of the game matters. And I'm pretty sure he's just trying to tell Patrick to fix his body language.
Yeah, it's a good eye, and he really does know. I mean, this is a great guy to have in your corner. I'm not sure what happened there. That was
nice. This is a great fight on both guys' side.
I'd like to see some more punches out of Kyle too, you know.
Yeah, I think Kyle's gonna start looking for a home run now, you know, because you're down 2 rounds. Yeah, and that's exactly what I thought. That's what I was gonna say. He's bringing his hips in a little too close. I understand you're trying to get a home run, but you could do that without bringing your hips so close to somebody that you know is looking to take you down. I like his 1-2s. He had a very strong cross, but you got to keep your hips away from guys like this.
Yeah, that's a great point. You know, even if you just, instead of throwing a 4-punch combo, just put 2 together.
1-2, exactly. Yeah. 1-2, take a break. 1-2, take a break. Nice. I'm very, very impressed by Kyle's offensive skills from bottom. You know, he's not just getting taken down and just sitting there. To be honest, that first round, if he just did a little bit more damage, he could have probably won the round from bottom. But right now, I would definitely say Patrick is up 2.
Yeah, he's going to have to make something happen here if he wants to turn this fight around. But I'll tell you, man, look, Kyle's been training for a year in Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
That does not look like a year's worth of training.
Definitely not. Definitely not. He looks a lot better than somebody that's been training for a year. And that speaks to the fact of why they're letting him fight. You know, with just 1 year of training, he looks very, very good. If this is what he looks like with just 1 year of training, I can only imagine what he's going to look like in the future. And saying this, and to compliment to Patrick too, you know, like you have a stud in front of you, and you're able to implement your game plan. You're able to get your takedown, and now you're being a lot wiser and being more economic with what you're doing when you get that fight to the ground.
Yeah, absolutely here, and we're seeing some good movement now from Kyle from the bottom. Big up kick.
Nice. And what I like from Patrick is these kind of transitions, you're running out the clock. And every time Kyle comes up, he shoots right back in for the takedown, you know. So you're relatively safe with the distance, but while he's working up, you get him back down, you burn another minute off the clock, and that's just helping you win the round. And I think that's what he's going to do again. Give Kyle a little bit of time to work up. While he's working up, he looks for the takedown. Now, if I'm Kyle in this next round, I'm going to look to catch his neck, you know. Every time Kyle keeps coming up, he's coming up and trying to get cross faces. Instead of cross faces, go over his head, see if you could get a guillotine. You never know.
Yeah, and it looked like every time Patrick got up and like reset, when he would come back in, it was almost like he was trying to get to a better position every time, right? Now we're seeing him in side control, or it looks like a half guard, but towards the center of the cage, off the cage wall. Now it's a sudden, you know, you're in closed guard, but you're in the center of the mat, so you can kind of get away with some more time.
Smart fight from Patrick, man. Smart fight, especially now we're in the center. But hey, that center might actually help Kyle out because it might be able to help him secure better submissions. But now this 10 seconds left, man. What can you get with 10 seconds? You gotta shoot for. Oh, now he tried a good uppercut there, but it's just not enough. And Pat, very strong showing from both fighters, man. That was a very good fight.
Yeah,
I like the fact that their coaches believed in both of them enough to match up against each other. Very good showing on both guys' sides.
Yeah,
and
that was excellent.
I'll tell you what, whoever has to fight either one of them in the future is in for a very solid test.
Yeah, imagine thinking you're going to make your debut against the guy who's 0-1. Like Kyle, you know, and then he comes out here and he's moving like somebody who's 0-1 as a pro with 30 amateur fights, you know?
Exactly. Very solid fight from both guys.
Really great performance there from Patrick Budd, who we believe won. Good wrestling, good adjustments, and was able to maintain good control. Right now, we're just waiting on the judges' scorecards as everybody's ready to go for the official decision. I always get nervous when it takes longer than...
For them to read the scorecard.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I could see being a little funny is maybe the first round. Maybe one of the judges liked the fact that he was working off his back. But outside of that, I think is a solid 3-0 for Patrick.
I got to think so, too. But we'll throw it down to Chris Fuller for the official call-out. Stand by for a little bit more technical difficulties.
Salisbury Center, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. All 3 judges score the bout 30-27 in favor of your winner by unanimous decision. Out of the blue corner, Patrick Budd.
Like I said, great fight from both guys. You know that. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to seeing how both of them are going to grow in their career. Patrick looked very solid with his wrestling, and once he calmed down with not doing all the crazy slams, he looked like a monster out there. And at the same time, Kyle was relentless with the attacks from the bottom. When they were on the feet, he looked great. He looked sharp. He looked calm and composed. And for being 20 years old, that was a very great showing for him too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would have never guessed. He looked fantastic. And again, it's good to see a guy like Patrick get out there and compete in MMA after such a great background in wrestling. And it looks like we're waiting here. There's going to be another interview for Patrick from Skylar Lanier.
Man, that's a solid corner in that Patrick has there with the who's of the DMV mixed martial arts.
Yeah, right? You're not kidding, man. A bunch of legends over there.
Are you good for Patrick? Are you good for an interview?
Yeah.
You sure?
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Patrick. So I was talking to Chris. You come from a wrestling background, a year of training. How was this win for you?
It was awesome. It wasn't easy. It was definitely tough. This is definitely harder than it looks, but it's definitely worth all the hard work. I put a lot of hard work into this, so I feel like I deserve to be here today. And big shout out to my opponent. He worked hard, too. So, and shout out to my son, shout out to my team, and shout out to my family, man. I love y'all. I wouldn't be nothing without y'all. Seriously, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to you.